Children, where is heaven? Is it up there? Where is heaven? Well, we're going to read from Deuteronomy, and it's talking about the commandments of the Lord. And that if you want to follow the commandments of the Lord, where are they? This commandment, which I command you today, is not too mysterious for you, nor is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will ascend into heaven for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? Nor is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will go over the sea for us to bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it? But the word is very near to you, in your mouth and in your heart, that you may do it. And I call heaven and earth as a witness today against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both you and your descendants may live. So where are the commandments of the Lord? Where does he say this commandment is? He says it's very close to you. He's saying it's not way up in heaven. It's not way beyond the sea. It's not too secret or mysterious. It's very near to you. And then when we read in the New Testament, in the Gospels, what does Jesus say about where heaven is? Now, when he was asked by the Pharisees when the kingdom of God would come. He answered to them, the kingdom of God does not come with observation, nor will they say, see here or see there. For indeed, the kingdom of God is within you. Amen. So where did the Lord say heaven was? He says it's inside us. What does that mean, though, to say that the kingdom of heaven is inside us or heaven is inside us? It means it's not far away. It's not hard to get to heaven. It's not like somebody else gets to decide if you get to come in or not. It's something inside you that makes it heaven or not. So who decides if we're going to be a truthful person? Who decides? We do. Who decides if you're going to be mean to somebody else or say mean things to them? Yeah, you do. Who decides if you're going to do a good job when someone asks you to do something for them? Ourselves. We do. We get to decide all of those things. There are so many things we get to decide how we want to do things. And so, too, if we're going to decide if we're going to listen to the Lord, we're going to listen to the Word, or we're going to listen to evil spirits, we get to decide. And that means we get to choose. We get to choose if we want to be in heaven or not. The Lord says the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven is inside you. It's within you. The Lord, the angels, they're able to be with us, inside of us. We get to decide, though, do we want to let them in? What are we going to have in our heart? Are we going to have the Lord in our heart or something else? Many people have thought, well, it's the church, or maybe it's my parents. They're going to decide if I'm a good person or not. They're going to decide whether I get to go to heaven or not. It's the things that they do to me that's going to make it whether I get to go to heaven or not. You might also think, well, it's the other people around me. If they're nice to me, then that's heaven. But if they're mean to me, that's not heaven. The Lord is saying, no, actually, it's what's inside you. It's you. It's your choices that decide if you're in heaven or not. You can let the Lord into your heart. And the wonderful thing is the Lord says it's if you have him in your heart, if you have the angels with you inside, it doesn't matter what's happening around you. You are not just going to go to heaven after you die. You're already in heaven. Heaven is already inside you if you have love in your heart. If you love the Lord and you love your neighbor, that is heaven inside you. And then it doesn't matter if you have people doing mean things around you, but if you're full of love, you'll find heaven, even when there are other people around you who are not doing the right thing. You will find heaven inside yourself because you have the Lord inside you, and He is what makes heaven. So it's a wonderful thing to realize that you don't have to wait for somebody else to do the right thing. You say, well, I kind of know what I'm supposed to do, but no one else is doing the right thing, so I'll just hold on to that and wait till later. Well, other people are doing the right thing. Then I'll have heaven. Then I'll be in heaven as when other people make the right choice. Or it says, no, it's inside you. You don't have to wait for the Lord. Some Christians are waiting for the Lord to come down from heaven to earth and make everything good. The Lord says, no, the kingdom of heaven is inside you. You get to decide when heaven is going to be inside you, and you get to decide when heaven is going to be around you. Because the way you treat other people, that can be heaven for them too. So the Lord is telling us, the kingdom of heaven, we don't wait for it. We don't have to go search for it somewhere else. Wait for somebody else to bring it to us. We get to be choosing right now, today, whether we're going to have heaven inside us, or we're going to share that with other people. Amen. Hear the word of the Lord as it's written in the Gospel of John and in the Heavenly Doctrines for the New Church. I am the true vine. My Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, He takes away. And every branch that bears fruit, He prunes, that it may bear more fruit. You are already clean because of the word which I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. A branch cannot bear fruit of itself unless it abides in the vine. Neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. He who abides in me and I in him bears much fruit. For without me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is cast out as a branch and is withered. They gather them and throw them into the fire, and they are burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, so you will be my disciples. As the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another, as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all the things that I have heard from my Father I have made known to you. You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, that you should go and bear fruit, and that your fruit should remain, and that whatever you ask the Father in my name, he will give to you. These things I command you, that you love one another. Every man who looks to the Lord and shuns evils as sins, if he sincerely, justly, and faithfully does the work of his office and employment, becomes a form of charity. This follows as a consequence from the preceding law that man is born that he may become charity. And he cannot become charity unless he perpetually does the good of use from affection and its delight. And therefore, when a man sincerely, justly, and faithfully does the work that belongs to his office or employment from affection and delight, he is continually in the good of use, not only to the community or the public, but also to individuals and private citizens. But this cannot be unless he looks to the Lord and shuns evils as sins. For as was shown above, to look to the Lord and shun evils as sins is the first of charity. The second of charity is to do goods. And the goods that he does are goods of use, which he does every day, and which, when he is not doing, he thinks of doing. And there's an interior affection which inwardly remains and desires it. And from this it is that he is perpetually in the good of use, from morning to evening, from year to year. from the earliest age to the end of his life. Because otherwise, he cannot become a form that is a receptacle of charity. Charity itself is acting justly and faithfully in offices, businesses, and employments in which a man is engaged. Because all of such a man does is of use to society, and use is good. Good, in a sense abstracted from a person, is the neighbor. That is not a single man only, but also the lesser community, even a man's country, is the neighbor. Amen. Here in our readings from the Word, and blessed are those who hear the Word of God and keep it. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, you will ask what you desire, and it shall be done for you. By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so you will be my disciples. So we are ending our series on charity, and we can ask ourselves, what is charity? Charity means to love what is good. When the heavenly doctrine lists what it means to be charitable, it goes through various ways of categorizing charity, from the signs of charity, the diversions, the benefactions, charity itself. And it also goes from smallest to greatest. So the charity in the individual towards the neighbor, both as an individual neighbor and communities larger and smaller until you get to the country, and loving, finally, all people in the Lord's kingdom. But if you ask yourself, what does it mean to love everybody? Can you love everyone in the world? What does that love actually look like? When we do our own uses faithfully, that is the most direct way we can love all people. I'm going to read from the Heavenly Doctrine again, where it's just saying, in the case of a worker, what does charity look like? By workmen are meant laborers and artisans of various kinds, and these, if they look to the Lord and shun evils as sins, and if they do their work honestly, justly, and faithfully, they become forms of charity, each one according as he loves his work and applies himself to it. For the things that they have to do are goods of use and of service to the neighbor. Every workman who looks to the Lord and shuns evils as sins shuns idleness, because it is the devil's couch. He shuns dishonesty and fraud. He shuns luxury and intemperance. He is industrious, honest, sober, content with his lot, and does his work for the neighbor as for himself, because in doing it, he is loving himself and him in an equal degree. So this is saying that when we do our work to the best of our ability, we are really working for the good of all, everyone in our country and even the whole world. And we can think about, if you're caring for the health of other people, you are supporting the good of the whole. If you're supporting other people in their businesses, or even supporting their recreation, you are working for the good of all. Heaven is called a grand man, because when people work together in harmony in community, there is actually a more perfect human form than any individual person can be. We read in the Arcana, it was once shown to me, to the life, what societies they are, and of what quality, how they flow in and act, which constitute the province of the face, and flow into the muscles of the forehead, the cheeks, the chin, and the neck, and what communication there is between them. In this way, it was made evident that all who come into heaven are organs or members of the grand man, and also that heaven is never shut, but that the greater the number, the stronger the endeavor, the stronger the force, the stronger the action. And further, that the heaven of the Lord is immeasurable, so immeasurable as to exceed all belief. The inhabitants of this earth being but few in comparison, almost as a pool compared to an ocean. It's saying that everyone throughout the world, throughout the universe, has a place for them in heaven, in the grand man, where they get to serve their own individual use that becomes part of the use or the charity of the whole grand man. We can think about how each person doing their specific function works like a part of a single human form. If we did not have doctors in our society, it would become sick, just as we have organs in our body that care for the health of the whole and respond to infection or disease. If we did not have farmers or grocers, our society would be hungry, just as our body takes in food and the organs of digestion share that food with everyone else. If we did not have trash men, our cities would be filled with garbage. If we didn't have builders, our society would be without its protection and security. So every person working their own job is part of the whole, part of the whole human form that human societies make. So every person born into the world has the ability to be a useful member of society. When every town is country, then the whole country is healthy. So if we are doing our jobs, no matter what it is, we are contributing to the health and the good of our country and even our whole world. And it doesn't matter. Maybe our jobs don't seem that grand or important to the world as a whole, but if we are doing our best from a love of what is good and the good that we can do to others, we are loving the whole. We are loving the Lord's kingdom. We are, in fact, becoming a form of charity when we serve what is good. We read in heaven and hell about the angels and their uses. It's impossible to list the employments in the heavens, still less to describe them in detail, but something may be said about them in a general way, for they are numberless. They vary in accordance with the functions of the societies. Each society has its particular function. For as societies are distinct according to goods, so they are distinct according to uses. Because with all in the heavens, the goods are goods in act, which are uses. Everyone there performs a use, for the Lord's kingdom is a kingdom of uses. So we can say from that the love of being useful, the love of doing a use, is what makes you able to be part of the Lord's kingdom, makes you fit into heaven. Jesus said, "By this is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so you will be my disciples." So when we're doing a good job, whatever our individual occupation may be, we are serving the Lord. We are glorifying the Lord. We are bearing fruit. And the Lord also says that then His joy will be in us. And His joy is in us when we feel the satisfaction of a job well done. That is the Lord's love in us. Now, of course, there are times when our job may not seem all that fulfilling. We all go through ups and downs, and maybe, in fact, it's hard to see the good in a job that we have to do. And then we can feel disheartened that we're not really serving the Lord. And we're told also from the heavenly doctrine that everyone in heaven has a job, a responsibility that's uniquely suited to their gifts and their loves. On earth, though, we can't count on that. We don't always have that opportunity to do that job that seems to fit us perfectly. But even in that case, we can still choose to remember that the kingdom of heaven is within. It's our choice whether heaven is going to be part of our lives. It's not about the external situation we're in. It is the choice to do the best with what we have. Be content with the Lord in His providence. And so, loving the use is more important than our own satisfaction, our own happiness, including, what might our ideal job might be. Loving the use is what makes it heaven, rather than the external situation of the use or how much it seems to fit with who we think we are. And that's not to say that it's not okay to take a break from work. In fact, the Lord has commanded that there are regular, weekly, yearly rests from your labors to give you a refreshment. And it's also fine to switch careers if you find a way to be more useful doing something else. The point is, though, that no matter what we're doing, we can be looking to make society a better place, looking to serve society, no matter how great or small our responsibility. And so if we keep that focus, then we can inspire in ourselves the service, the use, the occupation that it's going to provide for other people. Even if the work itself may not be that inspiring, we can still be lifted up by the thought that we are serving the greater good of society. There is the power in being willing to give our lives for our friends, not by heroic gestures, but by humbly serving every day. The Lord doesn't honor or glorify self-sacrifice to make us miserable, because miserable is some worthy, noble goal. But He's telling us that when we forget about ourselves, when we don't think about ourselves in the desire to serve other people, that is where we become the most happy, is when we give of ourselves freely to serve others. Maybe you remember the story of Solomon. The Lord asked him what gift he wanted when he became king. And he didn't ask for anything for himself. He asked for wisdom so that he could rule the people well. And because he did that, the Lord gave him riches and success because he was putting the needs of other people first. That was his goal. Heaven is a place of great happiness because the people there choose to truly love each other, which can only come from the Lord's love, which is a love of serving, and it is the greatest love of all. Heaven is also a place of great wealth and prosperity, because spiritual wealth comes from the abundance of love and the storehouses of truths that the angels have because they are looking for more ways to serve other people. So they gather all the love that they can. They gather all the truths that show them how to serve their neighbor. And those things correspond to spiritual wealth and prosperity. And now we come to that question where, when it talks about charity itself as doing our job well, or our occupation, whatever it may be, it also says that the first of charity is to shun evil, and the second is to do good. So we have this where we have the first of charity is to shun evil, but charity itself is doing your use faithfully. Why is this the case? Why is the first of charity to shun evil? This comes to a fundamental truth that sometimes can be hard to understand. We cannot do good from ourselves. It may seem like we do, because the Lord is always flowing into us, always sharing His love, His goodness with us so completely that we feel like it is in us. But the reality is that it is all from Him. So the importance of shunning evil can be seen in that the presence of evil in us blocks the reception of the Lord's love, His goodness. We cannot do good if that evil is not first removed. And that's why you can have it being charity to do your use faithfully, to do good, and at the same time the first of charity is to shun evil, because you have to remove evil in order to do good. Think of it like a stream. If there is a barrier in that stream, the water does not flow. The Lord talks about being a vessel for His love. Think about a vessel is something that can ride upon the water or it can carry it. It can be something that transfers to another place. And so you think about a blood vessel or a stream carrying the blood along or the water along. That is His goal for us, that we are a vessel for His love. If we don't get rid of the evil first, it is like a barrier to helping our neighbor. Because the good that the Lord is trying to flow into us with will never get there. And so then, if we still try to do good, we can think about that stream being blocked up with mud or garbage. and that even if some of that trickles through, it's contaminated. And so that is what it's like trying to do good before we have removed evil. We can't really do good to our neighbor if we have evil blocking the way. We read in true Christian religion, evils and good cannot exist together. Insofar as evil is removed, good is sought and felt. And this is because in the spiritual world, a sphere of his love radiates from everyone. This spreads around and affects others, making them to like or dislike the person. It is these spheres which affect the separation of the good from the wicked. There are many parallels in the natural world to show that evil must be first removed before good is recognized, felt, and loved. For instance, no one can approach someone who keeps a leopard or panther in his room and lives safely with them because he feeds them, unless he first removes those wild animals. Who can make a garden out of a piece of ground that is overgrown with thorns and briars and nettles before he has rooted out those noxious weeds? Once the barrier is removed, then the stream can flow freely. When evil is removed, love can flow freely. This is what it means to be a vessel for the Lord. He gives us his life and his desire to help others. And so when we are doing our job, we are sharing that love with our neighbor. Sharing it according to our own unique qualities and talents. And so we are serving truly of ourselves, but from the Lord. And everything good is still from the Lord. And so if we are in charity and love, the Lord is present with us because we've removed the obstacles in the way of the Lord being conjoined to us and flowing through us. The kingdom of heaven is within us, or it can be within us if we shun evils and learn to live our lives in service to others. Again, we read, "You do not know what is meant by the glorification of God. It means bringing forth fruits of love, that is, diligently doing the work of one's employment, faithfully and sincerely and diligently. This being the effect of the love to God and the love to the neighbor. Moreover, it is the bond of society and its good. It is by this that God is glorified and then worshipped. Have you not read these words of the Lord? Herein is my Father glorified, that you bear much fruit, and you shall become my disciples." It may seem too trivial or too simple a solution to the world's problems, but if everyone actually cared for others equally with themselves and shunned evils as sins, then heaven would reign on earth. If we do our part to make the world a better place, we are acting in true charity and making the whole of the Lord's creation and the Lord himself to be the focus of our love. We love other people, we love the Lord when we do our own part sincerely and justly and faithfully. Man is not born for his own sake, but for the sake of others. That is, so he should not live for himself alone, but for others. Otherwise, no society could hold together, nor could there be any good in it. Amen.